In a world teeming with supernatural claims, from aliens and ghosts to cryptids, religions, and other unexplained phenomena, enter Captive Desk, that offers a skeptic's perspective. Join us for engaging discussions, opinions, scientific analysis, and a dash of humor as we delve into the unknown, unravel the mysterious, and confront the otherworldly as we seek to distinguish fact from fiction at the Captive Desk. Hello, everybody. This is going to be a cross between the Captive Desk and the Grassman Chronicles. So I wanted to do a Grassman show with BlasterMaster, who is by my side here. Hello, BlasterMaster.
Good evening.
Also known as Ryan, either or. And we had talked about talking about aliens, something Ryan's interested in, and so am I. And so we figured, well, we'll do this. And then I figured, well, he asked me about a date, and I said, well, let's just do it on my birthday. We'll mix it all up together and cover Grassman, my birthday, Captive Desk, and mix it all up and just have some fun. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing great.
Thanks for joining me.
Of
And
course.
I see a bunch of people here in the chat already. Good to see you.
Yeah.
I see
Hello, everyone.
I see Jess is here, and Tobin, and old Joe, and Mike, Logan, James, the Shaking Fist. Good to see you. Spooky, Nancy, Logan. I already said Logan. And Robin. And Robin is our recent winner of a Grassman Chronicles shirt. So she joins the club with the elite few of us that have the Grassman shirts. So welcome, Robin. And again, congratulations for winning. And stay tuned. You know, you could be next. You could join the club. Okay. So, aliens. One of the big alien stories I'm sure a lot of people have heard of, and figured we would start out with one of the big ones that kind of led to quite a few movies and stories and rumors and more sightings, and really a phenomena that grew out of the Roswell incident. And if you don't know, Roswell was in early July 1947 when a rancher discovered some strange debris on his property approximately 75 miles north of Roswell, New Mexico. The material was composed of lightweight metal, rubber strips, and tin foil-like components, unlike anything he had ever seen before. On July 8th, the local Roswell Army initially released a statement that they had recovered a flying disc, which was reported by the Roswell Daily Record. This announcement created a wave of media excitement, but the story took a sharp turn when the military quickly retracted the statement, claiming the debris was from a weather balloon, not a UFO. And I've got a couple pictures of the debris here. We'll pull up the share here. There we go. There's an example of what they discovered. Hello, look at the trees. Good to see you. If anybody wants to join and talk about aliens, I pinned the link. You're welcome to join. If you've got a story, if you've seen some lights, whatever, check it out. What's up, Lupin? Good to see you. And we've got, let's see.
Now this is an interesting picture because I've heard that this wasn't like people have said, hey, that wasn't the actual material. They actually discovered this is just something they put together to throw because this is what they said. This was what released afterwards, right?
Yeah.
This is like, no, we discovered a weather balloon. Here's the picture of it, right? So a lot of people say, no, this is just kind of part of the cover up.
And all putting out conflicting stories and everything. Somebody.
That was their first mistake.
Yeah, somebody either jumped the gun and said it was a actual craft, or, as the other side would say to the argument, they actually had a craft and they wanted to, shouldn't have said that, and then so then they came out with a weather balloon.
Oh, we don't want our foreign enemies knowing that, so why would we allow that news story to go forward? Let's squash it. I think that makes a lot of sense to me. Like if there's if it's like a national security issue, right?
Well, and of course, it could be something military. They could have shot down a spy balloon or something.
Right.
Here's another photo. It does look like balloon material or something that was like around like an insulation thing or something.
Right. Yeah, that to me just looks like something that a Mylar balloon would be made out of. That's what that looks like to me, something like that.
And we've got.
But I mean that that wasn't like accessible by everyone. That was a newer material that they were dealing with still at the time, right?
Yeah, and if you see something that falls out of the sky and it's all shiny, and it would stand out, I guess. Obviously, especially with the.
I've seen some pretty interesting like meteor showers and stuff, and meteors can do some strange things.
Hello, Bree.
Turn different colors and stuff while they're entering. Blow up almost, kind of just have like they'll be light and then just a bright burst and then they're gone. Meteors do all sorts of crazy things.
We got Maya and Top Tester and Bree stopping by. Yes, we are talking about Roswell. It's like Ember sent them over. Appreciate that. Thanks for stopping by. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I live near like one of the main naval observatories that they. Well, I live near Lowell too. Lowell Observatory is here as well, where they discovered Pluto. So I'm at 7,000 feet, so there's a lot of observatories here. But like 80% of the potential like Earth killers are discovered here, of like asteroids, which is kind of neat.
Go ahead. I'm just looking for another picture.
I had an upstairs neighbor that worked for the observatory. He was like he had a telescope set up, and he caught Starlink when it first launched, like the very first launch going over. He caught that with his telescope because he just had like an observation telescope set up, and he had a camera set up to it and everything. And he's like, oh, it looks like we're being invaded by aliens. It was crazy seeing the Starlink for the first time. I must have seen one of the first videos of that because it was like the first day that they launched it, and he caught it at night going by. It was pretty cool.
Hey, Ember and Robin and Clifford and everybody joining. Appreciate everybody stopping by. And yeah, I just happened to come across this on Facebook. It was perfect timing. it's, yeah, obviously you've got the UFO crashed and they're saying it's a weather balloon. So there is a big question about, the whole thing. And of course, you know, military secrets. This was the time where, Russia was just getting started. It was just after the war. I'm sure, kind of a lot of things going on in the world. The world was still shooken up. And something falls out of the sky. That's the last thing you need, right?
It really is.
And then just to give you an idea, I've also got some photos. We've got, okay. We have, so everybody kind of knows where this is at. There's the map. And there is, oh wait, we're up to Area 51, my bad. Wrong picture. Sorry, I didn't have these in order.
No, you're all right. I'm not too far from Area 51.
Where is...
I didn't realize it was that close. I could probably get there in a day. Is Tux in the house? Yeah, what's up, Tux? Good to see you, man.
Okay, well, I can't find the other one. But anyway, so
It's all right.
we're gonna branch off into this anyway. So now after the Roswell, and whether it's hello Tux, how you doing? Good to see you. One of the stories was that's why they have Area 51, because they needed some place to take the UFO to, right? So if they did get a UFO, then it leads to, well, that's why they made this top secret military base. Not to just be a top secret military base, but to house the UFO. And if you've seen...
reverse engineering?
Yeah, if you've seen movies like Independence Day or something, right? Sure enough, they had one there, didn't they? And nobody...
That scene is so cheesy, but it's funny.
But yeah, it was not even the president knew, right? Plausible deniability, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
So if they did find something, and of course we left out, it wasn't just supposedly a craft, that they also had some bodies.
Now that's the interesting part, huh?
Excuse me, my phone beeped. I forgot to turn it down. How unprofessional of me. Jeez. So, yeah, there was also supposedly some bodies. And again, you can go to Independence Day. They kind of follow that storyline where they have some alien bodies. What was it? I guess it's been quite a while back now where they had the big discovery. I don't want to say it was it Discovery Channel? One of them had the big alien autopsy thing going on, right?
Oh yeah, maybe it was Discovery. They kind of went downhill, didn't they?
Yeah, I really don't even like mentioning them.
You're like Discovery. That one channel that shall not be mentioned. It was good at one point. Like they actually had like.
Oh yeah.
Like you could watch like engineering of vehicles and stuff like that on that channel, but then they totally went off the rails, like a lot of like the History Channel did. The whole ancient aliens bit.
Yeah. So
I don't buy into any of that because it just feels like they're reaching so hard with that stuff, you know?
Well, that video was pretty bad. I don't think it convinced anybody
Oh, the
other than
autopsy video? Yes.
yeah, other than somebody made up a little movie.
Or like the interview one where they interview the alien. Have you seen that one?
I'm not sure.
There's a supposed interview.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you could try and look for that one. It's maybe I'll see if I can find it for you.
Okay.
I'll see if I can find it. It's pretty funny. It's kind of a classic one.
Let's see. While you're doing that, I'll pull up another picture here. I've got.
I forget what it has like a name. I forget what it's called.
Sorry, I didn't have time to put these together into a
Yeah, likewise. I wish I would have had
slideshow
time.
or anything, but I didn't have that many pictures, so they're just a little out of order.
This year has been pretty crazy for me. It was a long spring, and I'm going down. I'm going downhill at this point. You know what I mean? It was on uphill spring and summer, and downhill hopefully the rest of the year. Cause yeah, I've been busy as hell.
Yeah, here's all right. Here's a photo of Area 51. It's a top secret military base, but you can still get photos. I don't understand that, but there's a lot of buildings, big, huge runways.
Wasn't there? I mean, I think once the U.S. government came out and acknowledged that it existed, when was that? In like, so late '90s or early 2000s that they finally acknowledged that it was there.
Something like that. They eventually had to. And then of course, they kept expanding it bigger and bigger because people could still get close enough to take photos and stuff. And then they kept making it bigger and bigger. Oops. I might as well. So anyway, I was playing around with the AI.
Uh-huh.
We'll take a break here, so I accidentally clicked on this. And yeah, it is my birthday, and thanks everybody for wishing me happy birthday and everything. So I was playing around with the AI, and
in the woods today, Bigfoot came to play. Got a party planned for you, Dave, it's all for you. Cake with leaves and berries, gifts not wrapped, just hairy. Dancing under moonlight, celebrating right. Happy birthday, Dave, from the forest cave. Bigfoot sends his cheer for your special year. Candles made of pine, songs with a rhythm fine. Nature as our band, a celebration grand. Echoes through the trees, laughter in the breeze. Friends all gather round to the forest sound. Happy birthday, Dave, from the forest cave. Bigfoot sends his cheer for your special year.
And so the AI stuff they have is just incredible. I had different versions, metal version, pop version, rock version. Then I ran out of free credits, but a lot of fun. No matter what your opinion is with AI or whatever, it's a lot of fun.
It's still impressive, yeah. And
And
it's fun to play around.
AR, good to see you. Jester, Aunt Jer, Tsunami, hello, good to see you. And Otangelo stopping by. Sure, we talk about everything here, Otangelo. Aliens, gods, well, it's all fair. All fair
Was he
game.
mad?
All,
He's-
I often
I see his
say
comment now.
it's one thing if a skeptical, kind of dismisses things, right? But when you already are a believer in something supernatural, like a lot of religions are,
Yeah.
Most religions are involving supernatural things. I would think that a believer would be more open to other supernatural things.
Why why can't aliens exist under with a god? Why not?
Yeah. I mean, and the only thing is they only let you put one picture up at a time. That's the only
It always
problem.
cracks me up, Dave, when they say it's the aliens are demons. That always gives me a good laugh.
Oh, I did a video on that, and I went on Ember's channel too, and we were talking about that. Yeah, here's an older photo of Area 51 as well. And of course, can't be complete without mentioning the grays that are supposedly the beings that they, at least something similar, because that's where supposedly the Greys come from Roswell. They became really popular about 20 years later, but that's your typical alien. You've seen them in the movies: a big head, big eyes, small mouth. Some of them talk. Some of them use telepathy. Some have clothes. Some have no clothes. Some have hair, no hair. The stories vary, but
The chat is cracking me up over here. Bree had to go listen to Megadeth real quick, and cows probably have the most contact with aliens.
the poor mutilations, right?
Do they even know what's going on though? The cows, they're just like, what the hell?
To me, they look like cows that just died and emaciated away, but
And then an animal like ate out the soft parts, or a bird,
right.
because I've seen animals who do that. They pick the soft parts first, right? Because it's easier to eat.
Yep. And
Hello,
it's Mr.
Tobin.
Tobin. Hello.
I don't think I've
Happy
ever been
birthday,
on stream with
Dave.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you.
Likewise.
You're down there in Texas, Tobin, in the big open skies. You ever see anything blinking up there that you didn't know what it was?
Yes, I've actually had more than one occasion that I have experienced things that I could not explain. One time, I'm pretty sure I saw a ball of lightning, and it was real close. Like, I was facing out in the dark part of the woods, and Kendra and my youngest son were facing the street, and they were facing it, and it was like right across the street, and it lit up the forest whenever it was pitch black,
don't
a
know.
pitch black night.
I don't know
It
if
was,
ball lightning's supposed to be that low though, is it? Was it like low to the ground?
The thing is I didn't see the
It can-
source.
Yeah,
I
they'll
was
come right down
looking.
to the ground. Yeah.
It will.
Yep.
I mean, I've seen ball lightning here too. It's a crazy phenomenon when it happens. It's cool.
Go ahead, Tobin. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
What was it doing?
Yeah, what was it doing?
It just lit up the woods. From my perspective, I was smoking a cigarette and looking out in the woods, just facing in that general direction, and it just lit up the forest. And Kendra and my youngest son were like, "Whoa!" And they're like, "Did you see that?" And I was like, "Not really, but I noticed it light up."
That's cool.
Yeah, that's people that describe the ball lightning does kind of explain some of the UFO sightings, at least because of the crazy way it moves, and it was here, there, and then it just kind of disappears, which could be mistaken for, taking off at a huge speed or something. It just vanished, right? So I do think ball lightning does explain some sightings, especially in areas that are known for it.
For sure. How about you, Dave? Have you had an experience before with something
No,
like
but I
that?
live in the city, so I don't have the best viewing. On an optimal night, I can see some of the meteor showers and the space station go overhead or something like that. But
I had a
most of the lights around here, I'm right between the airport and the hospital, so you get life flights that go over, and then you've got the airplanes coming in. So most of the ones I see have red and blue blinking lights on them. So
when I lived in North Idaho.
overall, though, I've never really had any odd experiences other than bumps in the night when I was a kid. You know what I mean? But
Right.
otherwise, nope. I have to be a skeptic through and through, I guess, because I don't even have something that I can say, well, hey, this happened to me. I'm waiting. Tobin tried to help me.
Yeah,
Right, Tobin?
I'm still waiting for my ride. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we tried to summon the demon aliens. Hey, Zach, how you doing?
Hello, merry spawning remembrance to you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Looking festive.
I see Al in the chat. Good to see you, Al. I hope you're feeling well. Al, I heard, was back home out of the hospital. So we wish you all the best, Al. And Top Tester, hello. I didn't see you before. Yeah, we wish you all the best, Al. And also go check out the Shaken Fist.
Yeah, what up?
What are your shows, Zach? Sundays and
Yeah, I release videos on Wednesdays and I stream on Sundays.
okay. Zach reviews a lot of our favorite characters out there. So
I try to debunk pseudoscience, but every time I do, they give me community strikes and say if I do it again, I'm not going to be allowed to make videos.
They're like, you're too mean. Stop.
what about you, Zach? You ever see any lights in the sky over your way?
Twice. Well, see, once I was being really stupid, and because I started listening. Once I was young, I started listening to George Callum, so I ended up listening to Bill Hicks. So I thought everything was a conspiracy for a bit, and shit like that. And then fucking what was it? I started seeing just they looked like planes, but they were much lower down. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? Mate pointed out, and then we started just seeing them all the fucking time. And then we'd be like out of the back of a pub, and we'd see 3 or 4 of them go past. And like, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? And then I was out with a bunch of hippies tripping, and they released all these fucking Chinese lanterns, and they all floated off. And as they got to a certain height, I went, it's those fucking things I've been seeing for like the past fucking 6 months. Just loads of people just releasing Chinese lanterns and I'm like, it's fucking aliens, yo. But there is one. I have one that is legitimately weird. I was walking from a friend's house to a train station, and these 3 lights started going around, like they were in the sky and they were flying around each other. We're like, that's just somebody's weird fucking drone thing or whatever. And then like fucking less than 5 minutes later, a really low down fucking military fucking cargo plane went overhead and towards it, and I'm like, well, that's definitely something different. Oh well.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
See, that's what makes you question that, right? Because you're like, what the hell was that then?
I just assumed that they thought it was something. It was really just some guy with a drone fucking with people.
Probably.
That's what I was just going to say. Everybody's got drones now. They've got lights on them. So
Yeah.
if you're seeing something odd flying around, yeah, you've got to add drones to the list now. So
I had a
here's
unique experience.
Yeah, I think this was
Mine real
over.
quick.
Oh yeah, go ahead. I was just going to say this picture I think was over San Diego. I think. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, so mine was a daytime experience. It was really weird. I was playing frisbee golf with my friend in my yard. I had just like a putting course set up around my house, and I look up in the sky and I see what looks like a satellite moving. I was like, that's really weird. It's coming from like north to kind of south. I thought it was kind of a weird, kind of looked like the space station, right? Kind of that kind of trajectory. But then as it was going across the sky, we were watching it, and right in front of it, this blue, like what looked like a portal opened up. And the satellite thing went right into it and disappeared, and then that portal slowly closed. And it was the weirdest thing. It was like a light. It was like a plasma screen had opened up, and this thing went into it, and it just disappeared. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Sounds like Farscape.
Yeah, it was something. It was like something went through a fucking like portal into another fucking like just warped space and time. It was bizarre. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Just especially how it opened, because it opened like really slow, and then it had like this like white kind of like, it looked kind of like electric, kind of like plasma-y, and then it just kind of, it was just kind of shimmering, and it opened up and it stayed open for that thing to go through it, and then it just closed slowly. And I was just blown away. I have no idea.
Yeah.
My friend was there and saw it with me too at the same time. We were just both like, what the hell was that?
Would it be rocket stages separating?
No, I don't think so, because of the altitude, and I guess no, because the satellite was here and it opened in front of it, and then it went into it, right? And then it closed.
Well, something
So it
else.
opened
Could,
up
yeah,
really-
something else could have came.
That
along,
is
but-
pretty trippy looking, though.
Yeah, when you get something
Yeah.
like that, usually the image I get is when the rockets separate, and you get like that ring that comes off of it.
It was so weird
Yeah.
though, because we're just watching the satellite, and the thing that was opened, what didn't move, the thing that the portal, that's all I can describe it as. It's like a portal opened up, and it like went, and it looked like a plasma. It looked flat too. It was really weird. It looked like it was just like flat, and a disc opened up, and it was bright shimmering blue, and it had like kind of like electric kind of going through it. It was the
I know what
weirdest
it
thing
is.
I've ever seen. What is it?
God's sphincter opening up.
Well, you get rockets overhead, right, Tobin?
I mean,
Yeah,
I've seen rockets.
I have seen
I've
that.
seen rockets too.
It looks trippy when they pierce through the
Or when they go through the different stages. I've seen that too, where you get kind of like a burst that comes out. I've seen that as well, but it was nothing like that. Because the thing that opened up was way in front of this satellite thing, and then once it hit that, it disappeared. Didn't come out the other side.
Well, for me, portals are for Bigfoots because they travel interdimensionally.
It was portal.
Now,
was
it would be a
Bigfoot
dead
traveling.
giveaway if you would have said it was orange, because Bigfoots travel via orange orbs, but, I've heard, there's a lot of stories about portals too, of all different kind of things. And, movies are full of portals, or it seems to be, almost in our minds that there are like portals, or you know what I mean, to other places, or
Yeah.
other lands,
Well,
or something.
that's just
you
the
know?
only way I can describe how it looked. It looked like something
Yeah.
opening up, and then the way it had like a kind of like a little bit of a ring around it, and then it was like shimmery, different color on the inside, kind of. It was like light blue on the outside, and then a darker blue on the inside, and it was all just kind of like shimmery. It looked like plasma, like a plasma. Like, you ever touch those like plasma balls with electricity going through them and stuff? It looks something like kind of like that,
Yeah,
except it was controlled like sphere or like circle. It was really.
Tsunami
weird.
was
Never seen
thinking
anything like
something too, like it sounds like a launch. I think she's down in
Well,
the south there.
it. It was the altitude. It had to be way the hell up there, right?
Apostate Sisters. Thanks for stopping by.
I thought it was. Like
Yeah,
a satellite.
I'm in the city too. It's hard to. I might be missing stuff. Maybe they're flying overhead and I'm just not seeing them.
Well, another thing is, why would it? It didn't happen with the like satellite thing. It happened like 100 miles in front of it or more. This is when this thing like opened up, and then it went into it, and then it closed. And so it doesn't make sense to be like a stages of a rocket to me because
Well, the aliens just
it
got
wasn't there yet.
They were waiting
Right?
for, the portal to open. They didn't have any thruster fuel, and they just had to drift into it.
Yeah. Well, okay. So the closest thing I came to like I researched. I went crazy researching this because it drove me nuts, and I found that NASA was doing research on like plasma tubes hitting the atmosphere of Earth from the sun, and they were trying to fly satellites through the tubes when they were hitting the like atmosphere. That was like the closest thing I could come to, like maybe thinking that's what it was, something like that. As far as the natural phenomenon goes, but that's all I got.
Hi, Ember. Good to see you.
Likewise.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, Tobin talking about the plasma. Now, what do you think about something like this? This seems to be a lot brighter, you know what I mean, than the typical little tiny dots in the sky.
Yeah,
I think
it's
these
about
are over
the same brightness
Vegas.
as the city lights.
I
Yeah,
was going to say it looks like city lights.
yeah, I'm pretty sure this is Vegas. And yeah, these, they're not red and blue and white, So,
They also look like balloons lit up.
Yeah, they do look like hot air balloons with their flames
yeah.
going, so it illuminates
Yeah.
the inside of the balloon.
ah,
I was
ballooning,
thinking the light
perhaps?
from the city bouncing off him more than that, but it could be that as well. Because it looks like they have little like boxes. It looks like they have little things on the bottom of all of them.
nobody wants
Well,
to hear it's balloons, though. We already went through the Roswell. was a balloon.
A string of LEDs.
hot air
And you
pretty
just
cheap.
deflated everybody with another balloon.
The Roswell one, I remember was watching, was it Daily Show years ago, and Jon Stewart had some woman on, and she wrote a book saying that really the UFO, it was a special aircraft that that Stalin had made make secret meetings with the US government and Area 51 or some weird shit like that.
Why not?
And Nancy's joining. Hello, good to see everybody joining. If I missed anybody, I did. John's here too. John, good to see you. Thank everybody for stopping by. Yeah, if anybody has a story you want to share, you can hop on or put it in the chat. Thank you for subscribing.
So around here, they
Appreciate it.
police with drones a lot, and the drones don't make a whole lot of sound or anything, and they're big. They're like the size of a car, and they just fly right over. You don't hear them or anything, but you can definitely see them, and they have blinking lights. They're set up on like a rotation, and then I think they can activate him for like if they're trying to like find a drunk driver or something like that. They'll follow them. The drones are like programmed to just follow someone, or they take manual control of them. I'm not quite sure. It's like a Homeland Security thing.
I've heard of a similar thing, but slightly different. It's a much smaller drone, so it's lighter weight, and it can stay in the air for much, much, much longer. And it just goes up to like maximum altitude, like 10,000 feet or whatever, and it keeps an eye on the whole city at once. And while individual cars are like 1 pixel at that altitude, it's still enough that if they can identify like a guy who robbed a bank, and they can find the pixel that is that car and run the tape backwards to see where that sumbitch lives.
Yep. That's crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, they just so there's like 4 or I mean, so I've seen them. I've watched them what they do. They did there's like 3 or 4 of them. They just kind of circle and then one will go out and then another one will come in. So like they're charging at some station, and then they come back. I think they charge at the naval base here is what they do. It's like a naval base security thing. They send it over the city. Some weird government thing.
And I wanted to point out, looking around through photos, most of the UFO photos either look, really blurry and weren't worth even using or anything. Then you have a few that are lights over some of the cities, like I was just showing, but the majority of them look like this. And this, to me, just looks like meteors. Yeah.
I was going to say it looks like a scene, like a still from fucking Armageddon or some shit. Looks like just before the meteors hit New York. That's like the first shot.
They look a bit like rockets to me. You can see a little bit of a fuselage in front of
Right.
the light.
It's burning up. There's part of it that's like burning up and breaking up into pieces.
Yeah, it's possible depending on the angle it was taken at.
Well, I
Those-
suppose
those-
that would
Right.
also depend whether that
Right.
stuff's smoke or cloud, because they could just
Yeah,
be missiles
is
then,
it
couldn't they?
exhaust or is it the burning fragments and perhaps what looks like fuselages could be just the streaks from the motion blur because meteors do move kind of damn fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, either way, if it's incoming or outgoing, if it's pieces of rocket, if it's a rocket that disintegrated, one of Elon's little
I was gonna say, watch
thingies
it be
fell back
Starship.
in. Yeah, but yeah, a lot of these tend to be in these lines, and we have to go with that's pretty obviously not a UFO. It's most likely some kind of debris. So that seems to be your majority of your photos. And I think obviously it's not a very good, it's not a very good,
There's a lot of junk in space.
Well, also, the blurrier the image, the more likely you can say it's definitely this thing, right? Because it's blurry. You can see how it doesn't have this thing. It's
Right.
like, if you look at it a little bit, just turn your head a little bit and squint your eyes. It's definitely a UFO.
Ember's got an image here. Somebody going up.
Yep, this is my friend Dylan, and I happened to. She was looking particularly lovely that night, just as a UFO came by, and it just picked her up. Off
Zap
she
her
went.
right up.
And I because I had my camera ready, so I captured it. That's what happened. Yeah.
Hey, Joe. Hello, Joe. Good to see you. Thank you very much. So I wanted to check back with my notes really quick. In 1947, what happened at Roswell? I don't think we're ever going to know. There was so much conflicting things, and then when the military swept in and just kind of silenced everything, because I think if they had some or didn't have some, they wanted to get it all sorted out before that colonel or whoever it was put his foot in his mouth again and said things to the newspapers that he probably shouldn't have been saying. And I imagine the higher ups weren't very happy with that either.
Doesn't like the mystique of Area 51 kind of do them a favor? So wouldn't they kind of actually want to keep that going in some way?
Well,
I mean, that's part of it, right? Yeah. I think you're right about that. Yeah, like
that.
Oh, maybe the U.S. does possibly have UFO craft.
Right. Well,
maybe we shouldn't ever mess with them.
Yeah, that's going right back to what I was going to say. When you go from Area 51 and the UFO connection, you also end up going to the Dayton Air Force Base, Wright-Patterson Military Air Force Base, because the story goes that while everybody was watching Area 51, they actually took the UFO and the alien bodies from Roswell to Dayton. So, like you were just saying, everybody look at Area 51. Nothing going on here. Whatever you do, don't look here. Don't look here. Well, that would
no
be
attention to Cuba or what's going on. And were they doing Vietnam at the time? They might have been. I don't. Whatever. Just pay no attention to all the other shit happening. Focus on Nevada.
Yeah.
Everybody, look over there.
Yeah.
So it fits right in with whether you believe the stories or not. That this is how we get the Wright-Patterson. It's another top secret military base. A lot of secret military projects. It's the headquarters of the Air Force Materiel Command and home to the National Air and Space Intelligence Center. So it's a big deal there, and you don't really hear much about it, but it's a very important place, and they say there's underground things there where all the top secret stuff is done. I don't think you can actually get a tour of all that kind of the facilities, but you can go there and see the museum. They have a lot of aircraft there and everything you can go and see.
So, have you heard the theory that the reason they don't want to declassify is because they've given this material that they recovered to like certain groups of people or companies, and they have an unfair advantage over other companies with when it comes to aeronautical things and government contracts, and that might be the reason they don't want to disclose, because they're going to get sued because they didn't do it.
Yeah,
publicly.
I've heard the background. And hello, Bree. Hello, Joe. Thanks for joining us.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
I've heard the backwards engineering in it, but I've also heard that isn't plausible. That trying to backward engineer something that we don't have any idea about would be just about as hard as just engineering it ourselves.
It'll just get declassified soon enough anyway, wouldn't it? Doesn't it? It's after so long, it just gets declassified anyway, doesn't it?
Depending on what it is, I think it's 50 years, I think, or something like that.
So I was talking about Hangar 18. That's the one in Dayton, Ohio. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff about that. Yeah. So I said I had to go listen to Megadeth because you had me thinking about Hangar 18 and Dayton, because they allegedly took the Roswell crash to the Roswell wreckage, or at least some of it, to Dayton, but obviously allegedly took some of it to Area 51 too. So spread it all around. But they also, when they were clearing the wreckage of Mount St. Helen, they rescued baby Bigfoots and stuff too. So
I heard
you got to take all these tales with a grain of salt.
That's funny.
They put them all in a big cargo net and they flew them away with a military helicopter to safety. Thank you, military, for saving all the Bigfoots. That was awesome.
One of those brave heroes actually came forward and told the story. That's part of the National Guard they don't tell you about.
Yeah,
there needs to be a wildlife. What do you call it in their fruit salad? Some kind of a pin badge or whatever it goes in there. Yeah, you get the little Bigfoot saver in there.
Yeah.
What about you,
rescue badge?
Have you ever seen anything in the sky?
I had this really cool experience when I was sitting down on my back porch. I was looking at the sky, just chilling. It was night, and I was like probably blitzed. I don't know, but and I saw like a plane, I guess, floating, but there was like another one following right behind it, and then I was like, that's weird. And then another one, and there was like 13 of them flying all in a row, and I realized they were all one big thing. I like freaked out. I'm like, oh man, I just saw a UFO. Whoa, that's amazing. And then I went and looked on the internet, and they had launched the Starlink satellite. So that's what I had seen.
So many people keep getting tricked by that.
They
one
do.
of the last flights before they made them much more low vis went over the local drive-in, and all the drive-in attendees took pictures, and it was all over the local Facebook. Even the guy who runs the drive-in, he was like, "We're being visited by aliens." I'm like, guys, it's a satellite train. We've been doing this for like a decade now.
Oh, Dave, I've been meaning to ask you. I don't know if we ever talked about it or not, but what are your thoughts on the Phoenix Lights?
Ooh, that's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah. For me, it was a military exercise. The New Jersey Lights is one of the ones I was interested in because that was proven a hoax. It was a bunch of flares tied to balloons. And what was interesting was, even when they went back and showed the people that made the reports that it was a hoax, these are the kids that did it, here's their materials in their backyard, et cetera, they were charged. They had to get community service, whatever. And the people still shook their heads and said, no, I know what I saw.
Yeah.
So that tells me a lot about the psyche. Now, out there in Phoenix, supposedly it was a military exercise, and they were firing flares. It seems to line up with the official story.
Yeah, so I did do a call-in show with Jim Barrows, and he was in Phoenix at that time. It was a call-in show where people call in about woo stuff. So we had somebody
Nice.
call in about the Phoenix Lights, and yeah, he was actually there and kind of broke it down. Like, yes, it was a military exercise. So you could see them in the sky. I can see how people would have mistaken them for, or mistaken it for UFO activity, but yeah, it was military activity for sure. And
And
like,
here-
that's an eyewitness
This is-
that I know has a keen-eyed skeptic. You know,
Well, life's boring. People need to make up stories to make it more exciting. You know.
Oh,
You
yeah,
can't-
it's-
if you vaguely can't explain it, well, then then that means you get to fantasize. And you
nothing,
saw it,
nothing
so
wrong.
it's definitely what happened.
Nothing wrong with a good story, you know. But is it just a story? You know, then it's just a story, and enjoy it for that. Yeah, here's a real quick. Here is a photo of Wright-Patterson. They've got a big triangle runway. I guess it can take big aircraft. You see, there's a lot of buildings, and as Bree mentioned, one of the hangars here is supposedly where the UFO actually was taken, depending on what story you want to follow.
so maybe the life forms were taken to Roswell, to Area 51, and then the ship was taken to Dayton. It was kind of divided up. Let them both have a little bit of the
Right.
remains. You all have
Well,
to
you don't want to
share.
put all your eggs in one basket, right?
Right.
Well, you got the right equipment in
Yeah.
one place, and you got the right equipment in another.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
And so I could have aliens right down the road from me in Ohio here. And there could be some out west, and who knows where else, because one thing, you know, if they want to have something hidden somewhere under the ground or something, you're not going to know where it's at. They could put it underneath, you know, a McDonald's or anything that they want on top, right?
Denver Airport.
Well, yeah, whatever's again. So you're not looking at anything. What's that? You just automatically assume, yeah, it's a big, yeah, it's an airport. It's a bunch of warehouses, whatever. Nothing going on here, right? That's always the classic response.
Ohio seems
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here.
Swamp gas, weather balloon.
Have you seen the one dude that's obsessed with like phallic pictures in the Denver airport?
Yeah, the old guy.
That guy's hilarious. I can't
I can't
remember his name.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't remember his name either,
Like,
but
he
he's
goes
totally
around-
out there.
because he does more than just the Denver airport, though. He does because
Yeah.
he goes full like Illuminati. It's
Yeah.
and these ceremonies and all that stuff.
He's
And he
great.
mixes it with God.
Is he going around drawing dicks or what?
No, he just sees dicks and everything.
Yeah,
Oh.
like everything, everything.
Oh, that's like the mud fossil guy.
Roger.
He sees parts
Vagina
and everything.
Yeah.
Every
Hello,
cave
Chris.
has vagina.
Good to see you.
All I can say is that guy must be, you know, have needs that he's trying to work through. Ah, poor fella.
He does seem repressed, honestly. If I was going to be honest about it.
Yeah.
Well,
It's like, have you ever had like I don't know if you ever had like a wall in your house anywhere that was like made of knotty pine, but you can find boobs
Oh, yeah.
galore on knotty pine, like nice boobs too, like symmetrical and everything. So,
Naughty Pine,
you
isn't it?
can,
Everyone loves a naughty pine.
you're a naughty pine.
I always see Bigfoots. It's like a Rorschach test. It looks like a Bigfoot to me, right?
Yeah, I
and-
I see eyes on the pine for real though. You know, like it looks like there's eyes all over it. If you want to think of it that way.
And speaking of the government and what is the government up to, enough people were asking the government, hey, what's going on? So the government supposedly had Project Blue Book. So I think there was a TV series about it at one time. It's in movies. Supposedly the official government reports where they went out and were investigating all the UFO sightings, and their conclusions were Almost everything was answered for except for a small percent. And like many things, when you have that little percent, you always have people jump up that say, aha, see, you can't disprove all of them.
So there's a chance.
So there's a chance.
There is a chance, Joe.
To summarize Project Blue Book, yeah, that's it. So there's a chance.
The thing about UAPs, right, is that people always want to think, oh, it has to be extraterrestrial life. Most UAPs are going to be like mundane shit, like test vehicles and things. Or well, maybe not mundane, but definitely not as exciting. Like the black triangles that they saw in the late 50s and stuff, those were stealth bombers. Those were testing stealth bombers. We know that now. So
they
black
had blimps
triangles
like
saw,
that too, right? Back then,
was that?
they had like blimps that were shaped like that as well. I think.
Yeah,
at
there
one
was
point.
there was a blimp that somebody was hauling from, or they were trying to haul. I think they had some trouble. They were hauling it, and it was up in the air, and it was silver. And somebody reported, which was between St. Louis and Chicago, and somebody reported. Or there were several reports along the way of. But only after it got dark. During the day, so people were very, very clear that it was a blimp. But seeing something like that just moving like in the dark through the through the distant trees,
It's really hard to tell what it is. It
It's
just
a
looks
dragon.
trippy as hell.
Hello, Sydney. Thanks for joining us. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'll take 45 again. That'll work.
Hell yeah.
I'm told I look good for my age, so I'm not going to complain.
You do,
Happy
man.
birthday,
You look real
Dave.
good.
Thank you. I'm 58 years old, so
Awesome.
not a
Tobin,
gray
you're
that I
muted.
can see.
I don't have too many. Mostly they come out in my chin.
You're old as shit, Dave.
Mine's all streak on one side.
I had a grandfather that still had some color in his hair when he was buried, and my grandfather on the other side had snow white hair, and he was gray for as long as I could ever remember. So I still got some color in my hair, so I'll take it.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
I don't think
Sorry-
I'll be there
sorry for
with
the
you
old
when I'm
song.
your age. I'll be like, I'm all silver. It's fine.
Well, yeah, it's I have friends that have a lot of gray and friends that don't. So again, you know,
What do you think
Songs that
about
don't go
politics?
what's that?
I'm just messing with you, man.
I like gray hair in people. Sometimes it looks really good.
It bugs me, but it's like that inevitable. It kind of breaks your heart when you see the first ones. You know what I mean?
Going bald has bothered me way more than going gray.
Yeah, mine's more thin in the back. It doesn't show in the front so much.
I just
Oh,
say my
back,
forehead's
but-
growing.
As soon as I turned 40, dude, right here, it just started going out in the middle. I'm like, bye.
And then they start popping out in other places, like on your chest and stuff. And one day you're just brushing your teeth or something in the mirror, and you kind of notice what. And at first you think maybe it's a cat hair, but it doesn't brush off, and you're like,
blister?
"Aw, that's mine that lost its color."
I have trouble with that in my beard because for some reason I hit puberty at 8, right? But I didn't start growing facial hair until I was 30. So I still
I can
get
relate, dude.
new facial hair coming in, and I'm like, is that a grey hair? Is that
Yeah.
a new hair? I can't tell. I'm too old to be growing a new beard. It's weird.
What if
You're
your
like, I'm not
beard gets a
17
beard?
anymore, damn it. Why is this happening?
Well, yeah, I have a super beard.
I'm in the same boat. I couldn't grow facial hair until I was 30.
It's
And,
mental.
Yeah.
still
Yeah, mine
can't
took
tell,
forever too. It was so thin. Even just getting this wasn't until I didn't even try until I was older because it was just it was really thin. But my
Instead of taking
brother,
random-
may he rest in peace. When I got married, he was still underage to drink, right? And we wanted to go out, bachelor party, right? Wanted to go to the the stripper clubs, you do the thing, right? And it's like, my brother, but luckily he had full beard. I mean, full beard, as a teenager. So we just you just huddle in with us and we'll go to a small place, right? And kids don't do this. I'm not recommending this in any way, shape, or form. But he just got in the middle of all of us, and we just walked in and plopped down in a corner booth, and they never noticed to bother to card him or anything else. So my brother was at my bachelor party just because he had that beard and he looked older than I did. So
I was
Good
like
times.
35 and got carded for a rated R movie, and my girlfriend had to be the adult that accompanied me because I didn't.
Yeah, we don't want to talk. Sydney brings up another heartbreaker. Yeah, you see one of those. That's not thrilling either. Like, stop that. Can I take a vitamin or something? So getting back to these things all become connected. You go from Roswell, then you go to Area 51, and then you get into the other Air Force bases. Then you have Project Blue Book. If you don't know Project Blue Book, it lasted about 2 decades. They investigated UFOs, and it became the government's official effort to address the growing number of UFO sightings reported by civilians and military personnel. While many of these were explained as natural phenomena or conventional aircraft, some remained unidentified, fueling speculation that the government was covering up evidence of extraterrestrial encounters. And
Now it's time to talk about the Men in Black.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
well, I've got a man to talk about, but I don't think he's one of the Men in Black. Coming out of all of this, there's a famous person, well, at least people that know about these things. His name is Bob Lazar.
There it is.
Bob Lazar supposedly worked at Area 51. He spilled all the secrets. He put out information, and I've got some photos here. I will pull this up here. He
5 hangars or 6 hangars or whatever, right?
Yeah, supposedly he was in. Hello, Scott. Good to see you. Thank you very much. Supposedly he was in on everything and knew everything and saw everything, and eventually, though, it turned out, not so much. But for a while, he was everywhere. I don't know specifically if he was on like Oprah or whatever, but those type of shows. He was on all the shows, right?
Coast to Coast AM.
Whistleblower, probably on Coast to Coast. Yeah.
What's the guy's name?
Bob was getting around.
I know who first brought him in.
Here's a picture of Bob. You may have seen him over the years, in videos or on these shows. That's the guy.
Stephen King's alter ego.
I was thinking that.
A little bit. And he is the one that also. Again, you gotta give me a second. I can only do one picture at a time here.
Later, Joe.
Joe drop off. Thanks for stopping by, Joe.
He was introduced to the public by like Jeremy Corbell. That was the news reporter, and George Knapp, right? Those are the guys that kind of brought Bob Lazar to the mainstream.
It could be. I know for a while he was everywhere. And he also had a book. Of course.
He owned a brothel at one point, too.
good money in that.
Probably.
Were they little green dancers, little
Sure
green
hope not.
massagers? And this is what his highly technical whistleblowing event was.
I mean, the thing about Lazar
He drew
is
this
that,
picture.
yeah, his past all comes into question because he says he went to this university and he's not on the records of going to the university.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All sorts of
His-
things like that.
he was
It's-
never at Area 51. He was never. I don't think he ever worked. And everything he said, basically, it turned out was all made up. Yeah.
Shocker.
Gravity
Shocker.
amplifiers. I love it.
Yep.
We need a gravity amplifier. You know,
That's-
if we actually had a gravity amplifier, you could like double the amount of local gravity. And yes, you'll feel really heavy. It'll be hard work to like lift up your coffee cup and shit, but you can handle it. But in the result, it'll slow down time in the local area because of the Lorentz transformation effect. Now, at 2 Gs, it's a very, very low effect. But if you can squeeze just a couple extra minutes in the day every day over the course of a year, you effectively get several extra days in your year. And that could be
I'm
handy.
down. Yeah.
I mean, I could also train to be Super Saiyan under that extra gravity and extra time, so that's cool.
Oh yeah,
It's like a-
strength
What Goku
training.
did,
You'd
so-
be like a super Olympian. You could
Yeah.
enter, the mailboxing and get accused of being a Kryptonian.
Well, where's the flux capacitor? That's what I'm wondering.
That is
Yeah.
the important bit. Yes.
I don't know where that plugs in. Yeah. But so this is, of course, your classic flying disc. More commonly known as somebody threw a hubcap in the air and took a picture, like Mike Shermer and many other skeptics have done. Dangling something from a fishing line or whatever. But for some reason, yeah, they were flying saucers. And then as Bree and others were talking about there, they became triangles about the same time that the military aircraft were being shaped like triangles. So then you got flying triangles. But this, of course, is your classic UFO everybody knows and loves. And supposedly, Bob had a great story about, and reverse engineering. We were talking about that. All these things is because the government got a hold of this. But yeah, sadly, Bob was a big fibber.
Well, people's idea of shapes of aliens and spaceships are also mainly derived from the stuff they see in sci-fi and different media at the time. It's weird how much they concord with oh look, there was a grey in this one film, so now all the aliens everybody sees are greys. Oh look, there was a reptile in this one film, now they're all reptilians, and there's actually patterns they go through depending on what's popular in sci-fi.
Oh, there's
Right.
xenomorphs now. I don't know what happened.
When I covered Nessie, the Nessie sightings all came out looking just like the it wasn't actually a plesiosaur in the original King Kong, but it was
Right.
close enough.
But it looks
And-
about 350.
Yeah, so there you go. Your plesiosaurs in Loch Ness. It was just like what I saw in the movie.
Yeah.
And then when I covered Betty and Barney Hill, that seemed a lot like a Outer Limits episode that had just been out. And
Yeah, there's a lot about the Betty and Barney Hill case that they don't talk about, though. They want to say, the Greys. They want to pick that out. They don't want to talk about the redheaded Irish guy that they spent most of their time with. They don't talk about that. Nope, it's all about the gray aliens.
that's another
What about
thing.
the Irish?
They,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know why the Irish abduct people in UFOs too. I guess the aliens and the Irish are working together.
Well, I suppose
Yes.
they need to abduct people because they've been moving out of Ireland ever since they developed how to make a boat. So I suppose they need people by this point.
So, but yeah, depending. See, that's the thing. Usually, the depictions in the movies and everything seem to be, no hair. But Betty and Barney Hill and a lot of the other ones describe the aliens did have hair. Some even had hats on and everything else. So it depends who's telling you the true story on who actually had an alien abduction and who didn't, I guess. Now, as speaking,
Is there a who did? Like, could we confirm anyone?
you know,
Well, my uncle Jim said he did, so it definitely happened because my uncle wouldn't lie to me about that, right?
I saw Flight of the Navigator. I do not leak, Navigator. You leak.
I would. Hello, Pragmatic Crystal. Thank you very much. YouTube. Hello. My feeling on alien abductions is, number one, they fell asleep behind the wheel, which is what I think Betty and Barney Hill did after driving way too long, and they pulled over and they had whatever go on in a little dream, and everything that was flashing through their mind seemed to be the dark scenery and then the bright lights, and it almost matches their road trip because this was before you had a lot of street lights or anything like that. So you're driving in the middle of nowhere in the dark. Anything that comes up, a store, a hotel, like the hotel with the big orange ball on its roof, would definitely trigger in your mind. Then you pull over, catch a few winks, and that's what you're dreaming about, because you can set yourself up for recent things to be running through your head, and then you could dream about it. The other one I have is sleep paralysis, because the whole thing of being held down, not being able to move, not being able to breathe, you can't scream out for help, seems to match sleep paralysis. And depending on the person, it can be just a scary experience, it could be a demonic experience, it could be an alien abduction experience, it can be some of the old myths of different beings that would sit on your chest, or a cat that would sit on your chest and steal your breath.
There's a term for it. It's called hag-ridden, or the old hag.
The old hag.
Yeah, that's what would come visit me.
But it's one of those. If you're also like just driving down the road with someone and you start talking about shit like that, you can just psych yourself up into seeing anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure.
People,
making something into something it's not. Definitely.
Humans really underestimate their imaginations and
yeah,
the ability to like be convinced of something that's not true. How gullible we really are.
Well, I've been in rooms with people that like start psyching each other out about ghosts or spirits or whatever. Yeah. Right. And then they start seeing it themselves, like, oh, that thing it went past the window. Did you see it there? And the other person goes, yes, I totally did.
Did you hear that?
They're all psyching themselves.
Definitely heard it.
What was it? You heard that too,
Sounded
right?
like a whisper.
Yeah, I heard it
too.
If there's
a ghost in here, somebody make a send us a sign and candle flickers or something. And it's like, oh.
Well, even if you
everybody's breathing so heavy,
want to agree anyway because they want to be taken part. I don't want to be left out.
If you want to do a bingo game or whatever kind of game you want to call it, watching Ghost Hunters, you definitely want to have "Did you hear that?" Because my sons and I would watch it, and we would. Wait a minute! Oh, there it is! And did you hear that? You know, so it's their term. It's kind of funny.
The best one for that is some Canadian show called Rescue Mediums, and it's like two middle-aged English women just like going through. Was it going through Canada? Just being the most melodramatic, like bad acting psychics ever. It's this he's tied to a chair. They start like, oh my god, one action doing this and everything. It's so good.
That's what I was gonna say. There's so many of these things. Yeah, the ghost hunters and all this thing.
Yeah.
It's just so silly, right? That if there is anybody, truly trying to investigate any of these things, you don't know who they are, hear from them or anything, because they aren't doing these sensational things or writing the big, book or, turned into a movie, whatever it may be. So it's one of those things, just like anything else. If there is a Bigfoot running around out there, it kind of harms the cause with all the people that are making fake tracks, putting a rubber suit in a freezer and all these things, so that it's going to drown out if anybody really has any legitimate things. And I'm just using Bigfoot, but speaking of aliens, aliens are more likely to be in existence than a lot of our cryptid friends. Let's be honest, okay? So
We have lots of cryptids and
there's a difference
squid, and that's
between
about it.
there's a difference between believing that aliens exist somewhere in the galaxy, which I think is mathematical, like more mathematically more probable.
Fermi's paradox sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. But if they visited us here on Earth,
that's the question,
or that they have interest in us on Earth, I don't see any credible evidence for that.
They'd have to just be like flying by on the off chance of going, oh, that planet's lit up, because like we've only been sending radio waves into space for like 100 years. You know what I mean?
Go ahead, Tobin.
If it's something biological, and when we go up into space, our bodies have a really hard degradation. Like,
there's
am I muted?
There's some astronauts stuck in space right now.
Oh, you're right.
You're a little echoey. Which are you on the mic that's on
something.
your headset, or are you on the mic that's in front of you?
He seems laggy, maybe.
Yeah, he seems delayed.
Yeah, a bit of a delay.
Yeah.
Now he's silent.
Now he's muted.
No, now you're muted. You gotta use the other one, bud. Turn that button back on, Tobin.
Maybe just refresh StreamYard or StreamYard. That's what I would do.
Oh, he's
back
all right.
on now?
You're all
I
right.
can hear you now.
Yeah, go ahead. You were talking about the difficulty traveling in space.
Yeah, our human bodies, like when we go up there, there's degradation of our body. Like I would imagine something traveling that far of a distance would have to have overcome a lot of obstacles. Like,
There's
and
two
that
people
being the
stuck
main
in
one.
space right now.
Yeah.
Like, how does that type of body last that long?
Well, that's entirely dependent if their bodies are like ours, isn't it? Because if they're completely different, they might not give a crap about gravity not affecting them in the same way or whatever. You know what I mean?
Or they
might
may
have
have
technology
artificial gravity
that-
on their ship.
Yeah, exactly. That's all they'd have to replicate, right?
But yeah, all you need is the rotation. It'll screw with how you pour your coffee, but it'll work for keeping your bones intact, assuming you have the same type of physiology we do. But I don't know that they'd send a ship with like beings on it though, because as we've
Like a
discussed
drone, maybe.
many times, sending living things through space is hard because you need shit tons of food and tons of air or a way to recycle air reliably for a really goddamn long time, and so on and so on. And then there's the cosmic rays, and then there's the collision problem, and how fast are you going to go? And there's so many complexities when if you just send, a little probe, and then it can just send back whatever it finds by radio waves at the speed of light. So you have like the delay of however far your system is away, plus the one-way travel time. But it's way faster. You can accelerate a little ship with no beings on it much faster than you can with organics on it. It can take much higher Gs. And so you'll get answers faster, way cheaper, and it just seems like the better way to do it. Also, I don't know that they'd necessarily need to fly by. They'd probably do what we do and use a long-range telescope to detect exoplanets.
I was just thinking that.
Well, when they sent to Muamua, it just did a flyby, and yeah.
That's right. It just did scans and then took off again. But
Because we already have a few pictures from the James Webb Telescope of other solar systems and the planets on them and shit. I already don't think so.
And we can get a spectroscopic analysis of their atmospheres to determine which ones have like liquid water, various organic molecules, or indicators of biological action. So
some of the planets are like biological, though. Like Venus has a vagina it gave birth to, or no,
Yes,
that was
that's
Jupiter.
True. That's true.
It gave birth to. Gave birth to Earth, didn't it?
No. I think it depends on whether you're listening to Roger or Hans.
Yeah. I like to think that all the stuff in space is made out of meat. That's It's just a
Well, the
belief.
moon's made out of
That's something I
cheese, so
want
yeah.
to believe.
Yeah,
I
the
have to
moon's
have
made
faith
out of
in it.
cheese. Yeah, as long as we have some cheese to go with it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and all yeah, the planets are meat and then the moons are all cheese. Perfect.
Well, and as
The
Ember knows,
the charcuterie solar system.
Nice.
as Ember knows, talking about Hugh Ross, the aliens, whether they are demons or not, all seem to crash into Earth. So, what's up with that? Right now, we're talking about how Tobin's bringing it up, and others have brought it up. You know, it's how hard it is to even travel across the universe, right?
Well, we've got a
Much
solid.
less have a living being in the spacecraft to get all the way from another galaxy or from across the universe. And Earth is like that pothole in the highway that you just can't avoid, you know? And you know you're going to hit it, and you just grit your teeth, and you hope you're going to be all right, and they hit the Earth and smoke.
Well, we've got a solid iron core, and it's just magnetism. We just attract them magnetically. You know, they can't help
What
it.
you're missing
There's a
is
possibility we kind of do, because you know we're still in that era where we're predominantly using radio waves for planet-wide communication or communication with our space probes and shit.
Yeah.
And so it's not implausible that an interstellar spaceship is using some form of radar for its own internal navigation, and our radio waves are fucking up its navigation. And so it just kind of swerves and zooms in on the source, and then
So we are literally that pothole
or
you can't
or we
avoid.
baited them. Maybe our government baited them with with our nukes, right?
Spacecraft 444, you're heading into quadrant 872, and that's where Earth is. Beware of that pothole.
Yeah. You get a flat tire down there.
You're gonna get a flat. I hit one of those in Detroit going 55, 60 miles an hour down the highway, and
Oof.
bam, and then it just blew the tire right out. I was instantly over to the side of the road. Just, yep, you couldn't.
You
and
know
there's
it when
nothing
it
you can do.
happens that hard too, right?
Well, when you're following in rush hour traffic, you can't even see the road anyway. So I'm just hoping I survived, and all of a sudden, bam! Then it was somebody right behind me too. They were rolling over to the side of the road. Everybody that was hitting it. So.
Well, I'm from Maine. We have terrible roads. We have potholes instead of roads. We don't really have roads. We just have giant potholes that people drive through.
I know gravel would be better in a lot of places. Here in New York, oh my goodness, Interstate 86 runs along the southern border of New York and Pennsylvania. It dips into Pennsylvania in a couple places, and it connects up with 90 towards Erie, PA, along the coast of Erie. So if you're taking 86 from Erie to Binghamton, you'll fine road, and then you'll see the sign saying "Welcome to New York," and right at that line, it goes from smooth interstate to just potholes. It like there's not even road; it's just potholes.
Yeah. There's
My
lots of
son
great
did-
videos of people going from New Hampshire into Maine with that shit. They're like, this is New Hampshire, this nice, well-kept place. When you get to bed, it's just...
My son was just here for dinner the other day, and he was tickled through and through that they paved the road out there by him. It's for so long. He's out of town anyways, and it's way out in the middle of nowhere, and it's a lot of that gravel road, where they just put the tar and the gravel on it, and it's a rough ride. Well, and he got himself a nicer vehicle, a newer vehicle, and everything, and he's like, man, you're gonna shake your fillings out, right? He came over, he had this big smile, They paved our road. It's got lines and everything, So it's the little things when you get older, So on my that was my last one I wanted to mention was Bob Lazar, and like I said, it's so many times and with so many things. It's not just the near-death experiences. These people write the books and then they come out later and they say it didn't happen. So many of these things, they cash in before anybody can actually fact check them or research them. And then by that time, they made their money, they're good to go. And they're kind of laughed off into oblivion. However, with Bob Lazar, recently, you may have seen on some of the news channels, I know it was all over some of the ones here. I don't know if it was everywhere, but they had pictures coming out that were military, declassified, all kinds of things. Now,
The tic-tac.
if you follow Thunderfoot, which I do, he kind of went through all these and he was showing it's a bird,
Yeah.
right?
I agree with him on a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, you could even see the flapping of the wings and some of of course, the stills, you don't see it as much, but a lot of this stuff got released, and one of the things was that they were pointing out is it has to be a UFO because of the way the pilots were so excited and they were yelling, "Wow, look at that, can you believe that?" and all these kind of things. What Phil pointed out was what they were actually yelling about is they have side radar technology while they're flying at whatever Mach speed they're flying at, and however far away out the side, they can lock onto something as small as I think this thing was a meter or two across from how far away they were locking onto it. Amazing technology. That's what they seem to actually be excited about. When the media got a hold of it, though, it was kind of misinterpreted to, these are aircraft that are messing with our aircraft, and what are we going to do? And Tucker Carlson had his lost dog face saying, "What are we going to do?" It's a bird, but we do have some amazing technology that can lock onto a bird. And again, this is at 90 degrees. This isn't even in front of them. This is at 90 degrees off somewhere, and they're locking onto these things. Now, the thing is, again, if these are alien craft and everything and stuff, and they don't want to be observed, what are they doing flying around with messing with our airplanes? Obviously, I think Bree mentioned they would have, or Ember said, whoever said it was, they would have technology and everything, scanners and whatever they're using. And we've all seen Star Trek episodes, right? If you show up in the sky, somebody's going to see it, right? So why would they be buzzing around?
Maybe they don't know we have cameras, or maybe their technology is so advanced they just don't give a fuck if we see them. They're like, what are they going to do?
But again, the story. Hello, Jess. Good to see you. I think I saw you earlier. If I didn't mention you earlier, hello again. My question always is, what are they doing? Just flying around, messing with aircraft. What are they doing, crashing into our planet? And any debris they do find is always military. Something fell out of the sky, some space debris or something, or one of the shows I saw, they had a part from a UFO until a farmer looked at it and said, "That's an impeller from a water pump from an old tractor," right? So again, sometimes the evidence that's held up the highest is just some junk, right? It's not any materials or some types of metals we don't have or anything like that. It's always explained. So that goes back to anything that's falling out of the sky doesn't seem to be alien either.
Well,
so
humans are creative. I mean, archaeologists do that too, right? Like the ancient pre-Greek, what are they? The dodecahedrons, the little spheres with the little circles on every corner, the little knobs, and the archaeologists are like, oh well, this is like the mechanism of some in industrialized machinery the pre-ancients had, and yada yada yada, and somebody's grandma finds one and goes, oh yeah, that's for crocheting.
Yeah. That's a perfect example. So, and again, like I said a little earlier, sure, it's possible there's aliens. Sure, it's possible they can travel around. Sure, it's possible they've been here. A lot more possible than a lot of the other things I talk about. A lot more possible than what a lot of people believe in, and uncountable amount of beliefs that people have on this planet. But is there any good evidence they've been here? Doesn't seem to be. A lot of the people that claim to have these things, unfortunately, turn out to be not credible, or it was explainable by, yeah, they just saw the TV show or the movie before they went to bed, and you throw in a little sleep paralysis, it's pretty explainable. Obviously, nobody's landed on the White House lawn and said, hello, we're here, nor, surrender and give up your planet either. Hello, Justin.
Do your leader.
Yeah, and yeah, then of course there's been a lot of jokes going around these days with if the UFOs showed up, we'd be saying, please take us with you,
Please take over. I mean, how many stories have we gotten in the last few years where the aliens show up, and the guy who wrote Ready Player One, Ernest Cline, I think, he wrote a story called Armada, which was these alien drones invade. They have like a base on Europa, and they invade Earth every few years, and Earth has been fending them off, but the humans tried to nuke them, and now they've come to just destroy Earth completely. They sent the hugest armada ever, and whatever. And of course, the story, spoilers but not spoilers because it's predictable plot. The hero of the story fends them off, and then discovers that it was all a test to see if humans could break the cycle of constant escalation of violence. And once the hero shows that we can actually break out of that, then the aliens are like, yes, it was all a test. Now here, have some advanced medicine. It'll double your lifespan and cure cancer, and we'll be back in a few decades.
Well,
the point is, friendly aliens. They want to help out. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little worried. Like I said, we had that little storm going through, and I just saw everything flash out of the corner of my eye. We must have a little lightning going on out there too. So
yeah, it was really weird. My monitor
gods.
Just crashed and my audio crashed. So I was like, okay, I guess I have to restart. So I did a quick restart. But I'm back.
The last video I was editing, I had more stuff in my import file than I had ever done in a video before. I was pulling in all kind of pictures and graphs and information. It was serious debunking, right? And I was just about done, and I was going back through and looking for, little things and touching up. And I clicked on one button too many, and it just, everything just stopped. And I said, yep, I think I overworked my computer a little bit too much. So
mine crashed in the middle of a freaking stream the other day.
Oh.
It just blue screened on me. Like, why?
Oh, no.
I was on with Deconverted Man the one time, and it just totally locked up on me. And it was my own fault because, I had just been working on something. Everything was a big mess, and yeah.
We had that stream, and your neighbors knocked the power out. Remember that?
1 year ago today, my neighbor tried to electrocute himself, and he ended up being okay. He is okay, and he put up another tower. It's a shorty. It doesn't go up real high, but 86 years old. And he's out there putting up a new tower. So he's got, he's got another tower. So, he's into ham radio, shortwave, and he's in all the clubs. He's been doing it forever. He talks to people around the world, and he's 86 years old. Last year, during the summer, I even helped him along with some of his buddies and everything. and they ended up getting a cherry picker, and we were holding the ropes and all the stuff, and he pulled a new array up on top of his tower. So he's all set, right? Did it with the cherry picker, everything. He's all good to go, right? Well, about a month or so later, this was a year ago today, he's out there messing around with something. And I think that maybe they were doing the guide wire on it or something, but they touched the big power line out back, not the little one going to your house, the big one that runs up and down the neighborhood. Blew him right onto the ground. It raced all the way up his arm and right up by his ear. He was all burned, all up the one side. And the 911 literally had to cut his clothes off. He was smoldering.
Ooh.
So he was naked and smoldering on the ground. 86 years, well, 85 probably last year.
That's that's the third rail shit right there.
And
Charge his battery though; he'll live a bit longer.
then it turns out in the final chapter of all this, he recently had to go in to get his pacemaker checked or whatever, and the doctor told him that if it hadn't been for the pacemaker, he might not have made it. He thinks that the pacemaker is why he survived.
It's a possibility. I'm when I was little, my parents always told me don't touch an electric fence, don't touch an electric. So of course, because for science, when my neighbor got a horse and installed an electric fence,
You touched it.
I sure did. Little did I know it wasn't a normal electric fence with like its own power converter and pulse system and whatnot. No, the genius had wired it directly into the house current. So when I touched it, 240 volts, just death grip on the thing, and I froze up, and eventually my muscles like over tight for whatever reason. I was able to let go, but my heart stopped for several seconds, and I'm like, well, shit, I'm dead. Okay. I found out though, but yeah, a pacemaker could have been useful because it might have gotten things going, or it may have burned out and killed me. Who knows?
You don't want that much voltage for your horses, though. You're going to give your horses like trauma.
No shit, dude.
No.
Yeah, I had. Well, we had a great show going. Bree was on with me, and yeah, we were covering Scotland because my grandfather immigrated from Scotland, so I figured we would do Scotland stories and everything. And yeah, I had a great show going, and I heard the noise. It was a big pop, and everything went black. And of course, because I'm hosting and it's on my PC and everything, I couldn't do anything. So I couldn't stop the stream. I couldn't do anything. And Bree, like the true professional that she is, stepped right in and was talking, I think, the Selkies a little bit, trying to cover for me, hoping, it would just come back on.
Yeah, your whole grade was blown.
Yeah, unfortunately it didn't. Yeah, the whole neighborhood was out. We had to wait for the truck to come, and so by the time I got back on, it was later, and Bree had already called it a night, which obviously it wasn't anything. Bree did her best. So was it 2 hours later or something like that, power came back on. So I came back on and I finished the show because the show must go on, right? And Tux hopped on and helped me finish out the show. So it turned into a multi-segmented series because my neighbor tried to electrocute himself. So all of you that have lost power during your shows and you're like, oh no, I just lost power. I know exactly why I lost power. And when I went over there to visit him, he of course had to pull the bandage up and show me all his raw arm and everything. I'm like, I don't need to see that.
He's like, smell it.
I don't need to see it. Thanks. Yeah, thanks anyway.
Why does it smell like bacon in here?
He basically he lost the skin on his whole arm.
Yeah.
It all just got cooked off.
Liechtenstein patterns.
It was was it Hellraiser? Remind me of Hellraiser. You know, when they don't have no skin on them like that. It was just
Yeah.
it was just gooey and red and give me the heebie-jeebies. I was like, my stomach, don't do that, please. Put the bandage back on.
Lichtenberg. I was close.
But yeah, he did end up all right. He survived it. And he is a tougher older gentleman. Like I say, anybody that's climbing a tower in their 80s, you know, pretty tough cookie. Of course, everybody's been upset with him, including his family, and that's why they ended up getting the cherry picker, because they were saying, you got to quit climbing that tower. And if you know, it's a typical tower that everybody sees, right? The three-sided tower with the rungs in between, right? And he had a belt, and he would put his belt around there, and up he went. He'd be climbing, 50 feet up in the air or whatever it is. And I wouldn't do it. When we were kids, we did it. We would climb up the antenna and put Christmas lights up, It was like fun, right? My dad would say, here, grab this, end of the string of the lights, right? Climb up there and we'll wrap it around, right? Yeah, sure, Dad, and you scurry right up the thing. You don't even think about it, But anymore, it's like, man, there'd be no way. I'd be too
We get
scared.
in trouble
There's
for parkouring up on the roofs around the neighborhood. And we jump in the pools and stuff, jump on the trampolines from rooftops. Kids do stuff like that. And I've never broken a bone though. I made it this far, so far I've never broken a bone.
A friend of mine from high school posted on Facebook just the other day. Yeah, I went my whole life, or I can't say I went my whole life without breaking a bone. She had something near her wrist, and her whole hand was pointing the wrong way and everything. And it was like, ouch. Yeah, no, I fractured my tailbone in the back of a pickup truck, but otherwise, yeah.
Off-road?
Minor injury. My brother and I, we survived, both of us, very well through our childhood, through very many stupid things, falling out of trees and hit by a car and bike wrecks. And, we would play football on the street. And, I mean, we were pretty rough and tumble. And we survived without any broken bones. And what's weird is, my brother and I both have terrible teeth. So we got gypped on the calcium in our mouth, but it seems everywhere else we're pretty sturdy. So I don't know. It's weird how it worked out.
I grew up in the era of Jackass, so I've broken too many things.
Well, yeah, when we did, we would go down there. We called it the blacktop. There was a big paved lot that was on a slope, and then at the very end of it, it also dropped off real quick and went to another layer around back. And yeah, that was our spot, on prehistory skateboards,
Yeah.
not those fancy ones you have now, the dangerous ones. And
we just trying to fucking ollie over everything. There's we can there's a 15-foot ledge here. It's all right. We'll go down that. Don't worry about the brambles on the other side. There's a 3-inch gap, and as long as you slam that 3-inch gap, you're fine. Don't worry about it. Just fucking go for it. You'll make it. Just go on.
Anybody in here a skater or was a skater when you were in your youth? Yeah.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, my first broken bone, well, my second broken bone, but that's another story, was from learning to skate. And I went to I think it was kindergarten, maybe first grade, roller skating party. I'd never been skating before in my life. So the girl whose birthday it was, her dad was like, oh, I'll teach you. And he takes my hand and we go out, and I immediately fell down, and he immediately skated over my hand and split the skin open and shit. And he's like, so he started to panic. He's like, oh no, I fucked up someone else's kid. So he picks me up, and then I immediately fall down again and land right on my tailbone and broke it.
I learned to skate because my doctor told me to learn to skate. All the men in my family have a weak muscle in our leg, So we'd have a foot that would drift inward, you know, it wasn't straight.
Yeah.
And I went to the foot doctor, and because my mother said, you know, hey, it looks like he inherited it from his father, and my son had it too. So with the weaker muscle, yeah, I'd be sitting there watching TV or whatever, and they would notice, you know, my foot would be turning in on each other. So the foot doctor said, go skating. You can't skate with your feet going like this. You have to be straight. And yeah, it worked those muscles along with, you know, I had stretches and stuff to do. And yeah, it straightened out my feet going skating. So yeah, if you have a crooked foot, you notice on one of your kids or something, send them to the skating rink. It'll do a world of good.
I had to stop skating for a bit because I grew too fast when I was a child. And they were like, because they said if I grew like another inch, I would have been, but not paralyzed, but both of my Achilles tendons would have snapped because I grew something like 3 feet in a year.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I just shut up. I went from being a fuck all nothing to like toddler to being 5. I was 5 and I was 5'5". It was ridiculous,
shit, dude.
Yeah, and they're like, you can't move around a lot for a while because you might snap something because you've grown
They're like,
far
take
too
it easy,
quickly
homie.
for no reason. Yeah, but they're like, don't take it too easy because you'll grow more when you're not doing anything. So, you know, good luck.
My younger boy shot up. It turns out he had some autoimmune issues, but yeah, he was just growing like a weed. And some of the other kids in the neighborhood were kind of picking on him about, you know, how come he doesn't talk very good for how old he is? And it's like, he talks fine for how old he is. He's just twice as tall as you are.
Right.
So they were thinking, you know, he's already in school and stuff. You know, he wasn't even in school yet, you know, so. Yeah. But we got him fixed up, and we got his most of his issues taken care of. And I noticed the other day that his face is hairier than mine, and I'm like, dang, man. All it took was getting your hormones straightened out and everything, and yeah, he's got quite the beard going now. So amazing.
I used to use my mate asthma inhaler because it made his hair grow more. So every once in a while, I go, just give us a hit of that inhaler.
Well, like you said, just a little, you know, a little bit too much in your hormones or whatever, your thyroid, whatever it was, making you grow like that, and yeah, it can cause a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And that's why there weren't giants in them days.
They didn't have medicine that could cure that sort of thing. They had to pray.
Well, and the one other thing I wanted to bring up, because this was big when I was a kid, and talking about History Channel and everything getting ruined, that also goes along with it, is ancient aliens. So lots of stories about the ancient aliens, that they built the pyramids and on and on.
It's all just racism, though.
Atlantis.
Yeah, that kind of is. I agree.
It's like brown people can't build this stuff. What's up with that?
We're smart enough to do that.
Atlantis supposedly had all this superior technology and everything from possibly ancient aliens, and so I went through the period. I had the books, Our Ancestors Came from Outer Space, and all those things. It was all the rage. There was a lot of talk about, a lot of shows like, you know, back in the day we had like In Search Of and shows like that. Now you've got, Ancient Aliens right on Discovery Channel and all over YouTube and everywhere else, right? When I see most of the stuff, some of it I can understand where they're getting their interpretations from, but you can also see that there's many other interpretations for the inscriptions on the walls and all these kind of things. And as far as, you know, building big stone temples and stuff like that, I don't think that was anything beyond the technology of the time. If the aliens gave them any tips or tools or machinery, they took it all with them. Doesn't seem to be anything in any of the garbage pits or archaeological digs anywhere.
Well, you know,
And
they finished killing all the xenomorphs, and the predators just left. That's what Alien versus Predator said. So that's why there's
Yep.
nothing left. They took it all with them. They cleaned up after themselves, at least. You know what I mean?
and a lot of the stories also go to this is Hugh Ross when he was talking that the reason we don't find alien spacecraft is because they're actually some kind of supernatural thing, so we can't see it anyways. So there could be UFO debris laying all over the place. We just can't see it because it's invisible or
You haven't got the right sunglasses.
Spiritual.
yeah, Predator. Yeah, it's got the cloaking thing on it or something. So you're out of luck anyways. Even if you got it, it's not really there either. It's immaterial. So you're double out of. Hello, Native. Thank you very much. Good to see you. So yeah, ancient aliens. Anybody? Any other thoughts on the ancient aliens or the
Well,
whole
actually, I always think
phenomena of it?
Monster Quest too. They had a lot of alien creatures.
Well, there's that one.
Unsolved
There's that one
mysteries.
inscription from the Aztecs or whatever. So that looks like a guy in a spaceship if you kind of look at it the right way. So you know that's definitely aliens, right?
That I have that picture. It looks like he's in a spacecraft until you turn the photo the other way.
Yeah.
And when you turn it the other way, he's on an altar being sacrificed. Yeah, that's a classic photo. Yeah,
You get the Ica stones.
yeah, that's another one.
They got UFOs on them.
Supposedly,
That's the same with some of the carvings or reliefs or whatever in Göbekli Tepe. They're definitely aliens. Look at them. Honest, they're aliens. Honest.
They're like, look how round his head is. It must be an alien.
It was nice that the aliens defined humanity so early before we could really show anything anywhere that we were there. It was really nice of them to just pop by there.
Before we had like video cameras.
Well, that and them really being able to detect us, except for coming down and going, "Oh, look, there's a fucking torch there, about 5 foot away." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was looking here.
Ready, folks.
Yeah, I find
gotta
the-
go the fuck to bed.
All right,
Let it
Ember.
trip.
Good
Happy
night.
birthday,
Whistles.
Hail Bigfoot.
Thank you for
He'll
stopping
be
by.
good.
Have a good night.
Hell yeah. We'll see you later.
I'll talk to you later.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'll
I-
let the dog back in. I'll be right back.
All right. Yeah, I had that picture. I was looking to see if I could see it. Yeah, that's one of the classics that always comes up. But it's all on how you look at it. I don't remember where I had it.
I mean, because like alien hysteria kind of really started in the
Here we go.
Britain a little bit in the 1800s, because there was some guy thing in London they said was like a Martian. It was called the Jumping Man or something, and it was like some domed man that used to jump from like the ground to rooftops and
Are you
terrorize
talking
people.
about Spring Hill Jack?
Is that what I'm on about?
Spring Hill Jack in London. Yeah, he was jumped on rooftops and he had like something to make him like he blow fire. I'm not sure.
The thing I remember seeing, he looked like he kind of looked like Mysterio a little bit. He had like this like fishbowl dome head on.
That's wild.
Is
Now
this the
there
photo-
was a
Is this the photo you were talking about, Zach?
Yeah.
Now, see here, it looks like he's being impaled by a big sword, right? But if you look at the other photo, this is the one they use on the alien shows. It looks like he's sitting in an aircraft and the controls are in front of him and there's exhaust behind him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it all depends on how you turn the photo.
You know,
So,
anything to push a narrative. If
There
all
was
you have
a-
to do is turn a photo, its jobs are good and it's easy.
Do you know about the UFO that crashed in Texas?
I mean, which one? It's Texas.
Yeah, well, the most recent story I remember hearing about was the stuff going on in Vegas where the cops were all chasing the alien in somebody's backyard or something.
Oh no, this was 1897 because he was talking about the early UFO sightings. Aurora, Texas, there was a UFO that supposedly crashed. It had a pilot, and the people in the town buried him.
Right, and they have like an unmarked grave somewhere where he's in, and apparently in the city.
Yeah, there's somewhere out there. There's a plaque and everything for it. Like,
yeah.
I did see a thing about an unmarked grave story where there was supposedly aliens, and but again, you know, that's like the hunters that shoot Bigfoot and then they bury them, and it's like, well, first of all, how did you bury a Bigfoot in the middle of the forest? I mean, for those of us who garden,
have you ever tried to dig a hole in the forest?
Yeah, digging a hole is hard work. Okay.
Yeah, it is.
For those of us who have put in for those of us who've put in a garden pond, okay, digging a big hole is a lot of work. Okay, and I was right out my garage with you know, power tools to, you know, cut big roots and everything. No, these guys with like your little foldy camping shovel, you know, that you would take if you're a hunter, right? Managed to dig a grave for a Bigfoot, and I don't buy it.
And it's not just like a human-sized grave either, which you need, you know, like about 6 foot is how big you want to. For a Bigfoot, you want about what, maybe 8 feet?
Yep.
Minimum.
That's a lot of.
Be putting in a big fish pond. Just cover the motherfucker with leaves, okay?
Yeah.
Well, they break off enough of the trees. They should be just lying around. You can make it like a nice can of wood or whatever, and just you don't need fine.
Yeah,
Those are my favorite Bigfoot videos, though, is the ones where like you have to must see Bigfoot video, and what it comes down to is there's a bunch of trees, fallen branches leaning together in the woods.
Yeah, like, but they're all broken up high up. It couldn't be anything else.
Yeah, look how they're stacked together.
Yeah, I think my favorite was some guy going, look, there's a Bigfoot thing in the ground, and he starts putting his foot in it, and then he starts stamping it, going, look how big this is, making it bigger, stamp.
Yeah,
it's really big.
They claiming like these trees piled up are some kind of shelter, but it's like it's not even a shelter. It's just a couple of trees that fell on each other. If it actually looked like, you know, I mean, it had some moss piled on it or something, you know.
We know what ape nests look like,
but
right? We know what like orangutan and chimpanzee and gorilla nests look like, and we know what our ancestors' nests look like because we've found enough, you know, campsites and stuff. So it'd be somewhere in between. That is how it would look. It wouldn't just look like a pile of trees in the middle of the woods just falling over.
Yeah, I just saw a video recently, and as they were going through the woods, every time they saw a tree fell over, they were just overjoyed. Look, there's another one, you know. And I'm like, it's a tree. They fall over in the forest all the time, right?
That's trees fall over, dude. It's a natural phenomenon.
So I do a weekly show where I cover like, you know, supernatural stuff, like in finding Bigfoot videos that are not that. Because I like to cover a lot of Bigfoot. I love Bigfoot. Finding ones that are not consisting of completely that, or some guy sitting in a tent at night going holding the camera in front of him with his flashlight saying, "Did you hear that? Did you hear that?" And then they come out in the morning and their campsite's all messed up or something. That's the whole shit.
Like, I heard howling last night.
Or the ones that are just like, I left an apple out on that log over there, and when I woke up in the morning, the apple was gone. It's a Bigfoot, because only Bigfoot eat apples.
It couldn't be a bird, couldn't be a raccoon, not a possum,
or the guy who put it there.
The one that got me was Moneymaker, who, if you know the Bigfoot shows, Moneymaker is one of the big Bigfoot hunters, right? So he goes out and they have everything, okay? Not only do they have all the gear, they're doing a TV show. So they also have all the television cameras, microphones, everything you could want, right? So their crew is headed out. They all have their, you know, Bigfoot detectors and their Bigfoot cameras and their Bigfoot microphones, and they're all dispersing this way and that way. And Moneymaker decides to wander off by himself without any camera crews or anything. And lo and behold, he runs right into a Bigfoot. And he doesn't have a camera. He doesn't even have a cell phone or anything else on him.
And
When he
that's the way
has
it-
literally
It's always
millions
the way it
of
is.
dollars worth of the best camera and audio equipment in a truck just a few hundred yards away. But no, when Moneymaker wanders off by himself, probably to take a leak or something, he ran right into Bigfoot.
It's always
Isn't
the
that
case.
a
You got
coinkydink?
everything. Yep, you always
Wasn't
got
that a
everything. And
coincidence? Yeah.
you just go for a piss, and there it is.
There
Oh,
it
crap.
is. So every time I see the show now, when they're talking about all the equipment they have and night vision and everything else, all I can think is, it ain't gonna do you no good when you leave it all in the truck and you wander off down in the woods all by yourself, right?
It's like,
And
I mean-
again, it hurts any credibility to anybody that's legitimately trying to look for not just Bigfoots, but ghosts or aliens or anything else. Is these people that are just out seemingly just to make a buck, right?
Yeah.
And
It's a shame.
for those, I will say, Jane Goodall, I love this quote. Jane Goodall, a famous lady, worked with the chimpanzees and everything all her life, right? She said if a cryptid was found to be real and existing, she would want it to be a Bigfoot. And I kind of agree with her because then Bree and a lot of us, we kind of got soft spot for Bigfoot. Bigfoot's right here over my shoulder, watching my back. He's party mode. I don't like the ugly Bigfoot stories. I like the nice Bigfoots. I'm a Harry and the Hendersons Bigfoot fan. Not the vampire soul sucking Bigfoot type
What
things.
about the
I-
exotic Bigfoot?
well,
It depends. It depends how exotic you mean. There is a Hawaii Bigfoot I want to do a story on.
There's a Japanese one too.
There's like a series of
and the
books
Yowie-
with, like romance novels with Bigfoot in them.
Oh.
Well, if you watch my last Grassman with the Christmas in July episode, I covered the Yuki Onna, which is a Japanese snow woman, and the Yeti, the abominable snowman, I just can't say it, abominable snowman. And just for fun, at the end of it, I had ChatGPT write a little love story of what would happen if the Yeti and the Yuki Onna got together and, could end their lonely, cold existence, and find love. And yeah, so that's how I ended the show with that story. So I've got a romance story in one of my shows because who doesn't like a happy ending, right? And that's the thing with so many of the stories, especially ghost stories. They're usually tragic things. Somebody young, died tragically, and it's so sad. And it would be nice if it had a happy ending.
I want some cavemen ghosts, to be honest. I'm sick of
Remember
all the
when-
Caveman ghosts.
hundreds. You know what I mean? I want to see Ugg come with his.
They didn't have souls yet, Zach. Come on.
Right. Oh yeah, Jesus. I
Remember when Demi Lovato said that aliens were offended by being called extraterrestrials, and freaking Ben Shapiro lost his shit about it?
I don't, but that's fucking
but that boy
hilarious.
loses his shit about everything. He's perpetually just
Yeah, I got
fucking angry at today.
It's right here.
I was on
He's an
with
alpha. What do you expect?
I was on with Jim Bob the one day, and he was arguing with me that Bigfoot's not a cryptid; it's a real primate.
Okay.
Nah, do you know,
He's a Bigfoot believer.
Personally, I think he just wants to argue anything you say. So when I said Bigfoot was a cryptid, he had to say, "No, it's not."
Contrarian.
What he really believes, we have a hard time. I think he says whatever will get him a super chat. So
do Do you ever think that Bigfoots came from, you know, those people that just like actually grow fur everywhere? There's just some guy out skinny dipping because he had fur. Some guy was
sort
walking
of.
through the woods and went, "What the fuck is that?"
It's
I
like
think-
a genetic, like
I
thing
think
where
it's-
people just have hair all over their body.
Yeah, I can't remember
Yeah.
what it's called, but they just grow
Right.
hair everywhere. Like,
Well,
like
just
they would, like,
just wild people, just
or
wild
whatever.
man stories
Like-
too. You know,
yeah.
I think that gives rise to a lot of mythology. You know,
It's called hypertrichosis.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. That is a thing.
Some people, you know, a little bit odd already and don't like to live in society, and they're kind of out, you know, in the gingerbread house, right? Out in the middle of nowhere. And, you know, they probably don't have the best hygiene, and they probably are wearing ratty clothes or just pieces of animal skins, you know, not tailored outfits or anything. And yeah, they're running around, and if you come near their area, they probably don't want you around, so they're probably scaring you off. On and on and on. It can explain a lot of stories, including Bigfoot stories.
Or you find a skeleton of like some fucking, because there was like a giant ape that lived there like fucking thousands of years ago, or millions of years ago, wasn't there? So they might like, because that's how dragons started in China, wasn't it? They were like digging. I can't remember if it was a silver mine. It was some kind of mine, and they found like an actual fucking dinosaur fossil. And it's like dragons.
They're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Well, it makes me so sad to think about, like, because in China there used to be a whole industry about selling crushed dragon bones as an aphrodisiac, and what they were selling was crushed dinosaur and Gigantopithecus fossils and stuff
Right.
from the mountains, and they were grinding them up and crushed them. Think about because all we have now, Gigantopithecus, is teeth and a jaw and some jaw pieces. And we have one whole jaw. Anyway, but a bunch of teeth. How much we probably lost because it was ground up and snorted.
There's still a huge black market for like endangered species and stuff. It's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That stuff pisses
Well, like,
me off, really.
There was a bunch of people in Britain that got arrested like last week or the week before because they were just running a global top monkey torturing ring. Well, they're just like, yeah, we'll just buy some capuchins and torture them for your pleasure.
What the
It's like, wow, people are rough, man.
It's
Oh,
awful.
Yeah, people have like
Trump,
this weird superiority complex over monkeys specifically. It's weird.
Trump
that
wants
also works.
Trump wants the migrants to fight each other in the cage matches and stuff, and the winner
Well, can he
gets
go first? Can he get
citizenship
in there
or
first?
something. It's
He's been
just,
talking to Vince McMahon too much, man.
but and this is a person running for president, and yeah, and he wants to have like cockfights or something.
It's like idiocracy. It's like idiocracy personified. He had Hulk Hogan like ripping his shirt off, and you know, it was like, what the hell is going on?
It is. It's a circus.
Come on, let's go for fascism, brother. With all the Hulkamaniacs.
Come on, bro.
Yes. So,
right. I'm gonna bounce, Dave. Happy birthday.
thank you, Bree. Much appreciated. And
Good seeing you,
BS stopping through too. Good to see you, BS. Yeah, and everybody go check out Bree at Hive Sci. They also do the Transpositions show. Make sure you go check them out. Tobin was on here. Make sure you go check out Tobin's channel. He does a lot of music videos. He's a musician. Go check him out and support him. Kentucky Atheist was here. Make sure you check out his channel. Simami, hello. Simami's got a channel. Maya Atkinson, of course, has Bad Science Sundays. Make sure you check out Maya. Some of you folks, I don't know if you have a channel or not, but everybody, check the chat and check each other out. Ember, of course, has a great channel. Check it out.
I wish you could go to like users' channels still. You can't do that through the chat anymore. You used to be able to do that.
I think you need to have a wrench to do it, and it should be easier. Yeah, I agree. Justin, check out Justin Wavelength, I believe it is.
Just make it an option. Yes, I want to opt in so other people can see my channel. How hard is that?
Yeah.
Jess with How to Rule an Asteroid. Make sure you check out Jess's channel too. I know Mike was here from Answers in Atheism. I'm on over there with Mike often. You want answers in atheism? We got them for you. So check out Mike at Answers in Atheism. And let's see. I know a bunch of other folks in here got channels too. So everybody, check out everybody else and sub to everybody else. Help each other out. And Blaster, you don't really have a channel, do you?
I have a channel.
You've got a couple. Oh yeah, you've got a couple. Yeah, you've got a couple older videos on, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. And
if I put new content out, I'll let you all know. Don't worry.
And Zach here with the Shaken Fist. He does. You do mostly reviews, right, Zach?
Yeah, I do. I mainly get angry at Christians. I make the occasional music video in a stream.
It's pretty easy to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And BS Lewis. BS does great stuff. He does all his animation and everything, and writes the scripts, and he has guests on. And where are you at when I need you, Pragmatic Crystal?
His farting noises.
Crystal.
Hey, Crystal.
Everybody loves Crystal. We owe her a ton of gratitude, always helping with the links in the chat and everything. And Crystal's also a member of the Grassman T-shirt Elite Club. So we do appreciate when she stops by and all the work that she does for not only, everybody knows. She's always there. And I wanted to mention too, Tobin was on the show before, and Tobin actually wrote a song. It's one of the videos I have on my channel. It's Ohio Woods, and it's about the Grass Man, and near and dear to my heart still, Tobin. It still means so much to me that you wrote that song. Much appreciated, and I'll forever love that song. It's on my, when I pull up YouTube Music, you and Look at the Trees when he's playing his guitar are two of the people that come up in my watch list. So I'm always seeing your video over in the watch list. And Look at the Trees too was through. Check out Look at the Trees. He just put out a new video. He does knife reviews and a lot of outdoorsy type stuff. He reviews different kind of blades, and he shows you some survival things, how to tie knots, set up your camp, what have you. He's off and run around with his dog Dingo. If you like that kind of stuff, check out Look at the Trees and support him. Anybody else I missed? Hey, we all love you, appreciate you. And I wanted to also say, I was checking my numbers, and I should be at 25,000 total views for my channel. So I think that's pretty awesome. It's not millions, but the 25,000 views on, my videos are what they are. I do my best. I don't have the best work out there, but it sure means a lot to me that 25,000 views on my videos. So much appreciated. I appreciate all my subscribers. And like I said, I try to give back, with our giveaways and everything, because, hey, I love you guys. So much thanks.
Yeah, congrats, dude.
And with that, I think we're going to wrap things up until next year when I come around the planet again. And this year, at least, I didn't lose power. The neighbor behaved himself. He didn't knock the power out. So I'll have to wave at him when I see him and say, hey, thanks for not knocking my power out this year. And with that, I think I'm going to hit my my little tune here one more time, and we'll just go out with that. And thank you again, Blaster, for joining me. Appreciate it.
That's fun.
Blaster's been on my channel before, and we've spoken before on other streams and everything. Always like talking with Blaster. Hey, Randy, Ape, good to see you. Thanks for stopping through. Thank you very much. And thank you, everybody. I'm gonna play the little birthday video here again, and the little birthday song from the AI, and we'll close it out that way. And everybody have a good one.
See you all later. Merry birthday, dude.
Yeah. Happy birthday. Bye, everyone.
In the woods today, Bigfoot came to play. Got a party planned for you. Dave, it's all for you. Cake with leaves and berries, gifts not wrapped, just hairy. Dancing under moonlight, celebrating right. Happy birthday, Dave, from the forest cave. Bigfoot sends his cheer for your special year. Candles made of pine, songs with a rhythm fine. Nature as our band, a celebration grand. Echoes through the trees, laughter in the breeze. Friends all gather round to the forest sound. Happy birthday, Dave, from the forest cave. Bigfoot sends his cheer for your special year. Echoes through the trees, laughter in the breeze. Friends all gather round to the forest sound. Happy birthday, Dave, from the forest cave. Bigfoot sends his cheer for your special year. Happy birthday, Dave, from the forest cave. Bigfoot sends his cheer for your special year. For your special year. For your special year. For your special year. For your special year.